Thanks for tuning in to Shana Speaks Life, where we are empowering women one conversation at a time. Listen, listen, listen. I am here today just to talk to you about why I'm so passionate about women empowerment. You have to understand why this means so much to me. Because I know you're probably like, either you don't know me, you heard of me, you've seen my videos, or whatever the case may be. You're like, this is all she talks about because that's what's on my heart. I grew up as a teenager, right? Honestly, even before my teens, like elementary school, I was picked on and I was always called the chunky kid, the chubby kid. Then I got in middle school and then I was called leopard because I had like this little skin disorder going on. And then in high school, I had the nickname Nassau. If you don't know what that means, look it up because this is a clean episode. But it was like every like part of my life, I was always, spoken down to, was told I would never be enough, was told that I wasn't good enough this, good enough that I wasn't going to amount to be anything. These are words that I heard from peers, from adults, from parents, from aunties, from cousins. I heard these words and they stuck with me. They stuck with me for a very long time to the point where I did not believe that I was worth anything. I didn't think that I was worthy of love. I didn't think I was worthy of friendships. I didn't think I was worthy of life at one point. And it took a very long time, a very long journey for me to get to a point in my life where I saw myself differently. Now, the reality is, we're talking about a lifetime of negativity that has been placed inside of my mind from other people throwing things at me, right? And I held on to them and I held on and held on and held on for decades. And so now it's taking the other half of my life to not believe those things that are instilled in my mind, right? So it's like as a kid, you hear either positive things or you hear negative things. And sometimes you hear a little bit of both, right? But if at home you're hearing positive affirmations, right? You're reminded of how amazing you are. You're reminded of how talented you are. You're reminded of how beautiful you are. You're reminded that you can do anything you put your mind to. When you are constantly reinforced with positive at home, it makes it easier for you to deal with what's thrown at you in the world. Unfortunately, in my situation, and I'm sure in other women's situations, the household was also doing the same thing the world was doing. And let me be clear in saying this. I've come to the realization I was birthed in my mother's brokenness. So my mother loved me the best way she knew how. She gave me all that she had to give. It just wasn't enough for me growing up. But I love her dearly and I have grown to forgive and to move forward from a lot of that brokenness that I was born into. I also carried some of that brokenness with me into my adulthood, right? But we also have to realize that at a certain point, regardless of what did or didn't happen in our childhood, as adult women, we have to hold ourselves accountable of how we want to move forward in life. So once I got to that realization, I was like, you know what? I can't keep being upset with my mother or with my aunt or my cousin or my friends who didn't mean me any well, right? Like I can't hold on to the things that they've said and the things that they've done to me. Because if I continue to hold on to it, then it's like it must be true. And I believe that. And when I tell you I believe that for a long time, we're talking 3 decades. I know I just aged myself. Don't try to guess it. Okay. But really, like we're talking 3 decades worth of negativity that started from the early childhood that once an adult, even if I didn't hear it anymore, I've honestly gotten in my mind that this is true. that this must be true. So I moved as such. I felt that way and I treated others that way. I allowed others to treat me as if I wasn't enough. So during my healing journey, I first started working with young girls because I was a troubled teen. Go figure. And got my life together and I just started mentoring teenage girls. And so from there, right, meeting some of these mothers and seeing their brokenness or how they have areas that they need to heal in or how they see themselves, right? And I'm like, now I get it. A lot of times, most of the girls I worked with saw themselves in a negative light because of what they saw in their household, which was their mother seeing themselves in a negative light. And so it had me thinking, should I be working with women? And I was like, no. I'm not Grace for adults because a lot of adults, most adults, right, are kind of set in their ways. Young people, you still got time. You can still, like plant seeds in them and just watch them flourish. But grown I'm able to do that. Nope, I'm not. I will not be able to do that. But for some reason, it still found me. Years later, it still found me. And I've been pouring into young ladies and adult women for quite some time. And I can honestly say it's been empowering to me. It's been healing for me. It's been uplifting for me to be able to speak life to women like you, to be able to plant seeds in women like you, to be able to pour into women like you. But then the best part is to see it come full circle where now these women are pouring into other women. Not saying that they weren't before, but now they're doing it in a different posture, right? Because now they see themselves differently, and the women that are around them that they know see themselves in a light in which they used to see. They want them to come out that darkness, right? They want them to come out of this I am not enough mindset. And so with that, creating this community of women who want to pour into each other, who want to see each other win, who want to plant seeds and just hold each other accountable and just all of these great things. I'm just like, this just warms my little old heart. And then for the young girls that I work with to see adult women have sisterhood despite what they see on television. No judgment, get your check. How you gonna get your check? I'm just saying, when our young people see those things on TV, they hear those things, right, in the music, they believe this is how I should be. This is my life. This is what it is. This is how I need to behave. And forget you over there. It's just me, mine, and no more. Right? But that's really not it. That's not how we thrive. That's not how we are at our best. Seriously. You do have to be mindful, right, of the circle that you surround yourself with, but you should be surrounding yourself with women who want to see you win, with women who want to empower you, women who will hold you accountable. And creating that space for me has been nothing short of amazing, right? I may not have had the tightest relationship with my mother. My mother is not my best friend. My best friend is my best friend. We've been best friends for our whole life minus 5 years because I'm not aging myself not here on this episode. But just seriously, just embracing sisterhood, embracing community, embracing the empowerment, right? I think it's so important to be surrounded by women who want to empower each other, to be surrounded by women who recognize when they're like, you know what, my cup is empty. And when my cup is empty, I know I got this circle of women who can pour into my empty cup. And then when my cup running over, right, I can pour into the next sister cup. I'm telling you, it is an amazing feeling. It is an amazing thing to see. And the crazy part is, right, women who never would have crossed each other's paths otherwise, women who never would have met because they're in different states, have this sense of community, this sense of sisterhood, and this desire to want to check on each other. Man, let me tell you, I have met some amazing women in my years of moving around to different states, traveling. And of course, I have my A1 day one. Shout out to my two besties. Technically, I got three, but my third one's a male, so we ain't talking about him. But shout out to my two besties, Shalisha and Denisha. Hey, boos. Mwah. Right? My A1 day ones, always and forever. But I have come across some amazing women throughout this journey called life. And even understanding that friendships, relationships, whatever the case may be, careers, we have reason, season, and lifetime, right? My A1 day ones, they're lifetime. They're not going anywhere. Signed, sealed, delivered, okay? There have been some friendships that were seasonal, and not that they ended on a bad term. They outgrew, or we were just for each other in that season. We planted seeds in each other's life in that season. We flourished to our capacity within that season of our friendship. We're still cordial. Hey, how you doing? But it may not be as tight as it once was, right? But it's the fact of knowing and recognizing and being willing to empower others, wanting to empower others and be empowered. Because I'm going to be honest, if I'm connected to you and you can't pour into my cup, are we really connected? Are we really connected? And I'm not saying you got to pour into my cup every day. You don't even got to pour into my cup every month or even every year. But when my cup runneth empty, and if you are in my community, right, because of this sisterhood, even if we don't tell the various details of what's going on in our lives, right, but just in recognizing like, hey, my cup is so empty right now. I am overwhelmed, or I am tired, or I don't know if I could keep this dream going. I don't know how I'm going to make it as a mother, or whatever the case may be, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, how could you not want to be a part of something so empowering? The idea of it is empowering, but I took the idea and I brought it to life because I sought out what I needed. And I believe that I could not possibly be the only woman who felt a void in sisterhood, who felt a void in community. I know I wasn't the only one. And because I know I wasn't the only one, whether others admitted it or not, this community was created. Or maybe you have sisters, maybe you have besties, but sometimes, right? Sometimes you like, I just can't hear it from the people that are that close to me sometimes, right? You could be my bestie, but sometimes your voice is on like auto tune for me. So it's like it goes in one ear, not the other, like a child, right? Like as a kid, it's like your parents are constantly telling you something, telling you to do something or not to do something. And after a while, you kind of like, you can just literally ignore their voice. It's not even intentional, but it's to a point where it's like, just don't hear the word. Then when you share with your bestie, she's like, girl, I told you that last week. You like, yeah, but you ain't saying like she said it. She said it in a situation, in a way, not situation, y'all, but I ain't finna do this over. She said it in such a way that it was like, dang, I understood her, right? Because sometimes the people closest to you are the people who understand you the least. And the reality of that is why it's so important to have this community, to have this sisterhood. Oh my gosh. My heart just warms every time I think about it. And then like the levels to this, right? Working with young ladies who may not see themselves in the best light. Working with women who sometimes, right, the light goes on and off, right? But then merging the generations together for special occasions, right? Being mentored by an adult woman who's been down that road you've been down, right? Not having the best relationship with the mom, broken relationships with guys, whatever the case may be, bad grades, failing out, you're in detention all the time, you got arrested, you're in foster care, like name it, I know somebody, right? And so to be able to have women who also have a desire to want to give back to the next generation, it's like a full circle of sisterhood. Because at the end of the day, these are the young ladies who will be growing into women who will be dating somebody like my son, right? So just like I'm raising my son to be a gentleman, well, he an adult now, but I raised my son to be a gentleman and to be respectful and be mindful and different things like that, right? Raising up our daughters to be the same, and not just for their mate, but just in general, right? And so in knowing that, just being able to be a part of all of it in some capacity, you know, is everything to me. I just really have the desire to leave a footprint on this earth as someone who made a difference. And again, that happens with one conversation at a time. And having those difficult conversations, right? Agreeing to disagree because we don't always see eye to eye. Having those conversations across the table from women who we normally wouldn't sit with. But it's bridging the gaps, it's bringing everyone together. Sisterhood is like none other. And together, we're unstoppable. So until next time, y'all, don't forget, speak life to yourself, speak life to others. Peace.